It is the story of two poor little cubs stuck in cold Lake Vygotsero in southern areas of Russia. A fisherman spotted the bear cubs, but did he manage to save them? Let's find out in the video. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am back with another story that might leave you in great wonder. It's the story of a mama bear and her two cubs trying to cross a lake to change their habitat and hide in some safe, warm shelter as it's freezing cold outside now. But while crossing the lake, they eventually ended up being stuck there. What happened to them next? Did they get out? Let's learn every bit of detail in the story. Before getting into the story, subscribe to the channel and like the video. So, this is a true story based on an incident in Vygotsero Lake in Russia. In the winter, a thin coating of ice forms on the lake's surface, giving the impression that the water is quite frigid.
Back over here.
No wonder the area is home to various wild species, most of which hibernate during the summer and seek refuge elsewhere when the temperatures drop. The same is the case with this family of a mama bear and two of her cubs who now had to finally move elsewhere as it was getting too cold to bear. But they had to cross that freezing lake if they wanted to survive. But what if that lake becomes trouble and a threat to their lives? So one fine day, two cubs were playing in the snow and begging for food when their mama bear decided it was time to cross that frozen lake as there was no proper food and shelter because of continuous snowfall. So they decided and began to swim in the lake. Mama bear knew that her cubs didn't know swimming, but she thought she would assist them in doing so as it was the only option for them to survive. The water was so cold that if the cubs stayed in it too long, they'd freeze to death. Their mama bear knew this, but she had to get across the river to find food for her hungry cubs. Soon they were in the first quarter of the lake, and it was becoming too cold to bear for all those three bears. Mama bear could no longer drag her kids safely to the other side of the lake. She was losing her stamina and energy, and was feeling frozen enough to move and pull her cubs. She realized she alone couldn't bring both of the cubs safely to the other bank of the lake, and she would die here too. So with that thought, she decided to cross the river alone without her cubs accompanying her. This thought was quite antagonistic to animals' behavior, especially female ones, as they always put forward their kids' life and safety without being selfish. But what this mother bear did was not something to adore. Soon she started swimming hurriedly and expected her cubs to at least try and swim following her. But what she saw after getting to the lake bank was unexpected. Her cubs weren't moved an inch from where she left them in the lake. Why didn't they even try to walk behind her? What to do now and how to get cubs out of that freezing, deadly lake? They won't be able to survive if they would remain stuck for more minutes. The mother bear knew that if she went back for them, they would all be stuck together in one place with no food or shelter until death came and hugged them warmly. But after thinking about it for a little while longer, she decided that leaving her cubs behind wasn't an option either. So instead of crossing back over herself, she decided to go and leave her cubs behind, thinking they would soon get some help from humans instead. Their mother disappeared into the trees on the other side of the lake, leaving them on someone's mercy, which was not yet there or even expected to be. The cubs were scared, but they tried to stay calm. They knew that if they panicked, their mother would be able to hear them from where she was standing on dry land. The cubs huddled together as close as possible to share body heat. They watched as their mother's paw prints got smaller and smaller until there were none left at all. She was gone. The lake was so cold that they could barely breathe, and it was too deep for them to stand alone. Now, what were they going to do? They were becoming hopeless, and in the meantime, some fishermen were on a boat nearby and saw that these two little cubs were struggling in the water. They decided to help them escape that situation, so they started thinking of different plans. "How are we going to do this?" one said. "We can't go into the lake ourselves," another said, "and we don't have any tools that will help us push them into our boat." They brought their boat near those cubs without knowing how to help them. One of them also said that it was possible that bears could bite or attack them as they are quite resistant to humans, but the other one had decided to help those poor creatures, no matter what would happen to them next. So they started thinking and thinking until finally they reached the bears. The bears seemed nervous and anxious and started hitting the boat with paws. Fishermen noticed that one of those bears was trying to hold the boat as it was eager to save his life by getting onto the boat. Cubs were heavy, so they could not get onto the boat independently. Fishermen decided not to jump into the water to help animals, as it was the worst idea that could threaten their own lives too. So they started thinking of how to help those cubs at least get onto the boat. One of them said we should take such a big risk. After all, it is a wild animal they are trying to save. They also thought that the boat could drown with such a heavy weight, but one of those fishermen needed to change the decision to help bears. He said, "I know that it is quite dangerous, but just think of them once, as they are living creatures and need our help. We couldn't just look the other way." Soon they devised a plan to use available tools to get the bears up, the fishing nets. What an idea. Amazing. Bears were feeling very weak due to the extremely cold water, and they struggled even harder to hold the corner of the boat. The fisherman would use their nets to safely pull the cubs out of the water and into their boat.
Не бойся, не бойся, не бойся. Садись туда к мотору.
One of those fishermen took out a fishing net, and the other thought to film all the scenes as it was quite adventurous. Soon they threw the net into the lake underneath the bear and allowed him to stand on one side of the net. They applied huge force and dragged the bear until he successfully stepped into the boat. They saved both the bears in the same way and now feel extremely joyful and thankful. Cubs were shivering and seeing fishermen with highly thankful eyes. The two cubs were safe at last. Now it was the time to take the boat to the other corner of the lake where the cubs could find and meet their mother. Fishermen drove the boat towards the south and were trying to calm the bears down in the meanwhile. They adored the cute little cub's beauty while saying satisfying words like, "Don't worry, little cubs, you are safe now. Soon you will find your mama bear, and it will all be happy again." Fishermen were feeling so happy that they had saved two precious lives today and were feeling inner peace and contentment immensely. They thought about how beautiful nature is and how it helps nature. Soon they reached the bank of the lake and decided to release the cubs on the dry land. They learned a lot from these non-speaking little cubs and decided to help everyone from then on without thinking of the circumstances. Bears were soon released, and they began to find their mama bear, who had left her kids alone in the lake to die. Fishermen also posted the videos and pictures taken to their social media handles. With this, we must wrap up the video. How did you like that true story of devotion to saving the life of animals? What lesson did you pick up from this story? Share your feedback in the comment section, and don't forget to smash that red subscribe button and hit the like button before leaving. See you in the next video.